Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Okay, we have some pretty breaking news that's going on right now. This happened last night on December 14th, or December 15th, which is that Cathie Wood just sold about 2.5 million shares of Palantir. Pretty crazy stuff because she bought a lot of shares in the beginning. So we're going to talk and analyze why this happened today. So she sold 1.72 million shares in one of her funds, and then about 421,000 in the other fund. So about 2.5 million shares. And it's a little bit weird because she bought around 2.5 million shares really over the past couple weeks. November 29th, I think, was her last purchase as the stock was dipping. Couple key reasons why this is really interesting. Number one is that she bought the shares probably, we can estimate around 21 to 22.50. Like it was still in that range before it really took a tumble over the past couple weeks. And that's when Cathie was loading up on the dip. Seemed very bullish, seemed like her conviction was really strengthening. And as it got lower and lower, she would have had to sell as of today at least around 1850, 1870s, maybe 1880s. I mean, it hit 19 after hours today, which was actually really bullish for the stock. It started rallying with the rest of the market. So she bought high and sort of sold low. There's a couple of reasons why I think this is not the biggest deal in the world, and I really think there's a lot of overreaction, and a lot of people that are bearish are taking the opportunity to just jump on the stock a little bit more for very weird reasons. And there's just sort of some key things to understand. Number one is that she's also been selling Tesla, right? Now Tesla has had some monumental gains, and she's obviously profiting off of Tesla, right? They bought it when it was very low, and the reason she's usually selling certain stocks, especially stocks that she's up on, is to buy dips on higher stocks that she has different convictions for. So the key reason that it's important to understand why she would be selling something like a Tesla and a Palantir is to understand what she's purchasing with that money. As of today, she bought the dip on not only Robinhood, which is about 487,000 shares. She seems very bullish on Robinhood, but two other stocks that are pretty important, which are Roblox and Roku. And the reason those two stocks are important is because they cost a lot more money than Robinhood at $18. So you need a lot more money to buy massive purchase of it. Roblox was down 9% and Roku went down 8%. Now these are two bigger holdings of her fund as well. Roku is one of the bigger ones, and at some level, sometimes you need to dump other shares to free up the cash to buy other shares. She still has about 35 million shares of Palantir, right? So for someone to say that, she's not bullish on the company anymore, she doesn't have conviction on the company because she bought high and sold low, I don't think is recognizing the dynamics of the market. ARK is down like 40% from its all-time highs as of this year. So it's really important to understand that if ARK is down this much and her stocks are getting plummeted into the market right now, especially some of her highest conviction stocks and stocks that she knows are a little bit more proven than something like a Palantir or like a Tesla, even though Palantir, even though she's willing to take that risk, means that the dip on those matters a bit more than the dip on some other stocks, even if you have to sell low if you bought high. So for something like Roku, I mean, we know this is one of Cathie's favorite media streaming stocks. Like this is one of these stocks that she's heavily bullish on. I mean, she's not buying Netflix, she's buying Roku because she has a different paradigm and perspective on that. If you need to buy Roku, there needs to be money coming from somewhere. And the question then becomes, where is that money going to come from? If you already have an outsized position of Palantir, remember, it is one of the only stocks that is in every single ARK ETF in the catalog of 6 that she has, and well over $1 billion of it, then it's totally fine to shed some of that and then put it into other stocks. The reason this is so weird to most people is because she's doing it while selling it low. To me, that's not that weird because you need to free up cash. And if you need to free up cash and you already have so much concentrated in one stock, then taking stuff out of that stock to get more of a dip on another stock, which will likely rise more in your estimates or make up more for the money that you lost, so then you can allocate that back to the stock, seems to make sense for me, right? So my logical plan here is that, let's say she's selling at 19 or 1880, and she'll probably buy back when it gets to 21, 22 over the next couple of weeks if it does have a little bit more rally. I think in my mind, she's like, okay, Roku's not going to get to this price again. Roku's going to go more astronomical, or at least that's the way she's thinking of it. Same thing with Roblox, same thing with Robinhood. So Palantir, if she believes is going to trade sideways for a little bit, she'd rather take the L on that to get a bigger W on something else. In the short term, she's taking this L, but buying the dip on those stocks is really important. That's why she's selling something like a Tesla and a Palantir, even though they're dropping, right? Tesla dropped today as well. That's why I mentioned them in the beginning of the video. in order to free up cash to buy the stocks that she has even more conviction in. This does not deny the conviction she has in some stocks to me, or Palantir. To me, this just says, oh, we have to free up some money, and this stock, because we have an outsized position of it, let's shed some of the position we have, even though we're not going to be profiting, but we're at least going to be able to allocate that capital into other conviction stocks that we have that we really want to allocate more money to, because those dips are even bigger than this dip, and then we'll go from there. It's important to recognize that she already loaded up on the dip on Palantir many, many times over the past couple months, right? So if that's the case, then at some point, if you need more capital and you believe you have so many shares in one company, it is totally acceptable, in my opinion, to just cut some of those shares. Unfortunately, it's at an L, but the entire ARK Innovation ETF is an L for this year, right? As of ending December, it is an L because it's 40% down from all-time highs in February. So if that's the case, then you're going to take an L somewhere, right? Like, you're going to take an L in some of your, are you going to take an L in Teladoc? You know, are you going to take an L in Skills? Like, there's other stocks that she's invested in that she's going to have to take an L in the first place. So the inevitability of the L that she's taking just happened to be in Palantir. And the reason I think it's insignificant is because she has a majority holding of Palantir in every single ETF she has. So to me, it's like just taking a little bit out of that position and allocating it to something more you care about, because you have such a big position in it already. I don't think this ruins the conviction for the stock or the fundamentals of the reason why she bought the stock in the first place. Now, the key thing here is to see, is she going to keep selling, right? And this is something we don't know. We're going to have to see over the next couple of weeks. Is it going to be like a Zillow situation where she's just offloading? I can't guarantee anything, but I'm very, very confident that's not going to happen, particularly because there's no reason for it to happen, right? There would have to be some major negative catalyst. And with all the amazing marketing videos we've seen from Palantir that I've been doing a lot of reactions to on my channel, there is not any negative catalyst. There are only positive catalysts. Q3 earnings was phenomenal. It's just that growth stocks are not being valued as they were in February. So it's not going to get the same valuation, right? So to me, for those of people who are worrying about this, you need to recognize that she's selling Tesla as it's dipping. She's selling Palantir as it's dipping. To me, it's because she has outsized positions in those companies. She still has the same conviction in those companies, but she needs to get the cash from somewhere. And if she's picking to get the cash from there, it's because she believes there's already such a big position that the L that is going to be taken on those positions, i.e. buying high, selling low, is inevitable. The question becomes, which companies do I take the L on? And then do I allocate the capital to other stocks in the meantime in order for me to profit off those? The final thing I'll say is there is a possibility in which she believes that Palantir is going to go lower, right? We bounced off 1790 the other day in pre-market. It seems like that is real hard support. Last time I got to 17 in May, immediately bounced right back up to like 18, 19, and then 21, I believe, within that week, simply because like 17 is when the price gets actually ridiculous and people are like, this is phenomenal, we're just going to load up. I think if she believes that it's going to trade sideways or even go lower, then she would rather take that capital, put it somewhere else, know that that dip is likely not to go sideways because of obviously the analysis she has on companies like a Roblox or like a Roku, and then come back into Palantir later with the money she makes off those as she gets some of the money back and takes the L that she initially took and either turns it into a W, buying it at a slightly higher price, or buying it at even a lower price, or buying it at the same price as it swing trades, or as it trades sideways. So those are my thoughts on it. I really don't think it's the biggest deal in the world. And when something like this happens, a lot of people get very bearish, and they think like, oh my God, this is the worst thing in the world. But you have to recognize she runs an ETF. An ETF means that you buy, trade, and you sell. Like you're doing it a lot. You have long-term horizons on particular stocks, but you're getting stuff out of the way because you got to load up on other positions. And this is one of the most phenomenal moments of the year because everything has crashed at the level that it has crashed. And to me, her argument is like, well, I should really load up on my highest conviction stocks. And if you got to take the money from somewhere, you're taking it from Palantir right now, and she might come back to it later. So yeah, I don't think this is a big deal. And I think it's silly to think it is a big deal. There's going to be many, many more of these buy high, sell low, or just sell in general moments over the next 5 years. And if you're with the stock and nothing of the fundamentals have changed, then I don't think there is a reason to worry about this. If you're worrying about this, you're too invested in the day-to-day movements of it, and you got to just kind of relax and just focus on the fundamentals. It's also important to recognize institutional ownership has increased over the past 2 weeks, right? So if we're increasing institutional ownership, retail seems to be more interested than ever. The marketing material that's coming out of Palantir is just phenomenal in terms of what they're trying to do. Then I think moments like these are where you have to recognize what an ETF manager is trying to do, especially an ETF manager that's loading on the dip of some of the higher conviction stocks that they may have that they know are severely undervalued. which means that they're going to have to take an L somewhere and buy up those stocks. So those are my thoughts. Nothing that crazy to worry about. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next one.